You could do it discounted, you could do it free, you could do it a lot of other ways. But the point is it's a sort of that middle ground offer. We had already laid the groundwork with a lot of our brand awareness campaigns. So there was some trust factor that had to be overcome. Point is at the end of the story here is that, I mean, look at these. These are not in-app ROAS numbers. These are actual order data that was imported into Wicked reports with actual numbers. And we found that greater than $2 million in revenue after we started the campaign. Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns. I'm the founder and CEO of Tier 11 alongside my awesome co-host,
Lauren E. Petrullo, the founder of Mongoose Media.
And we're so glad you could join us here today. We're going to go on a little ego trip here for just a second. First off, Lauren E. Petrullo got some very nice words of encouragement, shall we say, about people who have listened to the show and have actually deployed. This is one of the cool things about this show. Have talked about our LinkedIn posts and people doing like the John Moran two-step strategy, getting great results there. We're starting to see this happen all over socials. And you got one, you don't know where it was. But anyway, they said something about something that you said somewhere, and they got a great result about that something.
So specific, Rob. So specific.
What was it?
Yeah.
Putting you on the spot.
They're running Facebook ads, and they're doing an email marketing system behind it, and they've generated sales. They're already making money. Brand new offer, brand new product. I don't know. It's just, in the past few days, I've gotten abundance of thank you so much. I've been listening to what you say. We have another person. They implemented the Smart Plus campaigns that we talked about on TikTok. I went specifically into their account. I was like, you need to do this, this, and that. And they made already 4 figures worth of sales in just a couple of days.
Wow.
There's people that are like taking action. And those that take action, when you tell me, I told Ralph, there's this new word I'm using, and it's an ego ejaculation. Yeah.
If you haven't listened to our charisma episode, she's leaning into the Lauren Petrullo Sex on a Stick avatar. So yeah, so I think that's all consistent with your overall branding. No, I mean, I think this is great. Like, this is one of the reasons why we do the show. We obviously do the show because it's good for business. All right. But
sure.
Like the side benefit of this is like not everybody who listens to the show is going to become a customer of ours. I mean, we'd certainly like them to be for sure and give them good reason to, but that's not the reason why we do the show. We do the show because of these sorts of things, because we find something cool and we tell the rest of the world, and you have to sort of assume, this is what I've assumed wrongfully in the past, is that not that many people in the world listen to this show. But I was at a mastermind last week, and I think everybody I met knew about the Perpetual Traffic podcast, or at least had listened. And that's one more reason to do a podcast, I think, especially in your market. It's like how to become, celebrity status to a certain degree, but credibility. Like, it's a huge credibility booster. Like, we have 650 plus episodes, almost 15 million downloads. It's crazy amount. So you have to assume, that's a wide reach. And I was telling you before we hit record here today is that I was walking into my apartment here in Brookline last night, and my neighbor, Tom, I love Tom. By the way, the best person to have as a neighbor in an apartment building, we're in Brookline, which is like a beautiful area, is to have a neighbor who owns a flower shop. So he and his wife, like our house, like our apartment always looks freaking amazing. And it's because Tom's like doing stuff all the time. He's like taking like clothes to charity this weekend. I'm like, oh my God, like the guy is insane.
What a good human.
I know, he's such a great human. So he's like, walking down the stairs, like, hey, I was Cancun. Because we must have mentioned it in a previous show. So anyway, shout out to Tom, longtime listener and great neighbor. But yeah, you never.
Is this the one you went to the concert with?
No, different guy. Different guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
multiple neighbors.
Yeah, that's a different Tom. But anyway, so we've got. I think the influence in a show like this is that you reach a lot of people more than you probably think. There's the silent majority that don't ever comment, like, share, do all that. But then there's the those are the people that you're really reaching. And they're the ones, if you reach out on social media for you and I, on something that we talked about, we get this all the time on our YouTube lives. And now we're getting it more and more because we're asking for it. Because tell us if you've taken from something from the show and implemented it, shout us out on LinkedIn. Like, we'll respond back. So, I mean, it's the stuff that keeps us going on this show, day in, day out, week in and week out. So anyway, that's pretty cool. So
it was a nice parade of I don't know if it's just like something in the air, but I got quite a few different sources of people reaching out, and I know that it was like, oh my gosh, it's working. I'm so happy it's working, because this time of the year is so hard for a lot of business owners.
It really is.
You know,
like, this is a challenging time of year. Like, traffic costs are high. So, and we're trying to help you navigate through this show. So if you've got a marketer that you know, and share the show with them as much as possible, because this is real world stuff. Like, we run real, spending hundreds of millions of dollars, like, combined. Like, there's a lot of learning that we get from those platforms, and then just in digital marketing in general. Yeah. So anyway, enough of that. So there's your, what do you call it? Your ego ejaculation. I said it. Explicit rating. Here we come on Apple Podcasts. So we have been talking through case studies. We did another case study this past week. We did some case studies the week prior. We have a lot of case studies. We're going to be talking about a kind of a simple one. This is one of the ones that I presented at Meta 3 or 4 weeks ago on a round table with a bunch of agency owners and some of the higher ups in Meta, which was very cool. To get invited to the stage to talk through some of these things, but I couldn't really tell the whole story on it. It was very meta driven. So this was an example of like a meta driven one, but also has other platforms. So in this particular case, this is a client in the spa industry, a large scale, multi-office, multinational, actually international, outside of the US. And they sell, in essence, I can't say exactly what the product is, but it's like a sculpting product, a body sculpting product. They have a proprietary technology that allows for a shorter recovery time, less pain, all these other sorts of things, like a huge advantage in the marketplace versus like cool sculpting and a lot of other methodologies. But so they're having a problem with these are $15,000 to $20,000 procedures. So this is a hard thing to sell online.
It's an elective thing to sell. Insurance isn't covering that.
You ain't getting any insurance coverage here for sure.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I know it's all cash. So anyway, so they have a very, very solid business. They hired us to do both Google, and then we started doing Facebook as well. Facebook is harder because you have to create sort of the top of funnel brand awareness.
Yeah.
And then that gets the brand name. And the big thing with them was differentiating them from the rest of the competition, as opposed to going after these super high intent keywords of like body sculpting near me, Brazilian butt lift. It's actually
that's totally your thing. Ralph, you are going to fly, booking out 3 seats, lying on your belly with a big new booty before the year is up.
It's one of their biggest phrases, actually, for their search campaigns. So it's like, but
booty, 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 rocking everywhere.
Yeah. So that is, or BBL, I think is the actual acronym for it.
Stop pretending that you don't know this term very well.
Of course I do, because this is a business that we've covered for years. So anyway, so this is a hard sale because it's like, all right, well, you get the search volume is only going to, you're dealing with all these competitors. Sure. Like what we refer to as a red ocean. If you haven't read that book, Blue Ocean, Red Ocean, this is a red ocean. This is lots of sharks in there, highly competitive, highest price. You can certainly do, a 2-step strategy, which, we've talked about here. But the point is to be able to outbid your competitors. That's not how you create a brand. And their big thing was, we need to create a brand and have our value prop be different than everyone else's that's out there in the space, especially in the geographic markets that they cover, which I think was 24 in the US and 1 internationally, in London expanding past that. So they hired us to be able to create Obviously, optimize their Google ads first. It's the first win. Second, go higher level, go larger with a branding strategy, and then use Meta to incorporate that in. So you have the awareness, then some sort of level of consideration, and then ultimately action or conversion. And the offer initially was, hey, come in for a consult.
Of course. Yeah. Physically come in, gives their name, number, email. We know that this, especially high ticket products, take more than your 7 to 28 day attribution window. So that brings another layer of excitement to it.
100%. 100%. You get it immediately. It's not because I even told you anything about this one, but, and you didn't actually. I didn't. Did I tell you about
you
this?
didn't.
I didn't.
I really, when you said spa, I was like, is this a happy ending spa? Please be a happy ending spa. Oh my gosh, Ralph, is it? And then you're like, body sculpting.
Body sculpting. Yeah. Different type of spa that you visit.
Different type of body.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is that this is something that they had really struggled with. So anyway, so it was a combination of a couple of different things. One of the things that we did do is consultation on Facebook is a hard thing to sell. Like they're not really in the market. Like you've got to have some sort of really kick-ass quality content, and you've got to pre-frame them to the brand to begin with. So we started doing brand awareness campaigns, and then we're hoping that those would provide a lift. I actually have some screenshots here, which I can get to in just a second. And then we said, okay, well, that works. But what we need is we sort of need a middle conversion, a middle sort of conversion and or consideration phase, as opposed to, hey, this is our body sculpting. Come in, like, let's create a brand. Let's create this before and afters, which you have to be obviously very careful with on Meta. And then call to action to book, time in those specific regions. So that works to a certain degree. But what we found is there was sort of this middle component that we didn't have. We needed a lower priced offer. So
so they're not coming in at $15,000, $20,000. You're getting them to swipe their card, make an initial investment, and then see really what they actually want is a deeper investment, but they know, like, and trust the brand.
Exactly. So, and a part of this is also staff training. There's actually a guy
oh no.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
So when somebody comes in for the low priced offer, you need to be able to persuade them and say, hey, now that you got this, have you ever considered this? Or gently and delicately say, have you ever considered, this part of your body being, sculpted specifically? I don't know exactly what the pitch was, but anyway, the training is essential. So we can get all the traffic in the world, but once they get in the door, like our job is a little bit done at that point. So we had to coordinate
marketing to sales handoff. That's
100%.
You've just delivered them the lead. It's their turn to close and convert. And especially if you're introducing a new offer and you know that this is the entry point to the brand, you as a marketer or you listening know that you build this funnel, building this brand awareness. But you as a business owner know that sometimes people are lazy and they just want the sell right away. So that's hard, Ralph. That's hard.
So there's a guy in my Vistage group who I've talked to a lot about this. It's almost like because I go to this thing every single month. It's like, I don't go there to get new business, but I said, listen, you need like a upsell sequence. You need to be able to treat he does it differently. He does it with like an Ozempic shot and then sells them on, like, his front end offer is really great. It's like they do Ozempic or Wegovy shots specifically for weight loss, and then upsells them on the $10,000 to $15,000 procedure. I think his procedures are a little bit different. So you can do this in a lot of different ways. What we found is that let's do a Botox shot.
Okay.
So we tested that out. And so what we found is that initially, because of exactly what you're talking about, that 28-day window, that limitation, if you can see my screen here, and if you're not watching this over on our YouTube channel, perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube, if you're listening to it, I would highly recommend you head over there. This is actually inside our learning platform. We haven't even made this into a case study as of yet that I've been formally presenting, but these were the notes I used for the Meta presentation. So this is like hot off the presses. So anyway, so we we use Wicked Reports as our interface to blend all of the different platforms together. We also have, like, as I was telling you in Orlando last week, is that we have a proprietary solution, which is a data-driven solution, which allows us to sort of lift the veil on a lot of the unattributeds or unknowns. We'll be talking about that in future episodes. It's called Tier 11 Data Suite. So anyway, so we have this installed on this particular customer. So we could see what was going on all the individual channels and eliminating those unattributeds, those unknowns, which are such a pain in the ass inside GA4 or Triple Whale or Hyros. Even in Northbeam to a certain degree, that a lot of that data is modeled, although I think it's a great solution for enterprise. GA4 is all modeled and it's just like, it's a mess. So, but anyway, so we could actually see using Wicked Reports, and Wicked Reports has a longer attribution window than 28 days.
Because it's connected directly to the CRM.
Correct.
Whereas Meta, you're hyper limited with that information. So again, if you're having someone coming in for a Botox shot, right? They're signing up, they're booking an appointment maybe 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Then they no-show, they rescheduled, they canceled. Unless you have your CRM pixel integrated, or if you're using really strong CAPI and you have server-side data like a state by, like all of that is completely gone.
Yeah.
And you have to optimize for a different part of the funnel.
You lose it. So in app, it looks like there was a total failure. So what happened is that, so as you can see my screen here, this is actually inside Wicked Reports. This is part of our data suite. It's the last portion. It's the interface portion. Like I said, there's 3 components to it. There's Wicked Reports, which is the interface. There's a data warehouse, which is a tier 11 data warehouse where we actually store it as first-party data. Then we use the edge using Blotout. We wrote the integration between all 3 of those things, so it allows us to get a greater visibility on stuff like this as opposed to like GA4, which is just like a lot of convoluted stuff. And a lot of it, not of it's really even accurate anyway, because it's modeled and plus it's limited by 4 months. Anyway, we'll have a lot more on that in the coming months. The point is we optimized our ads and we also optimized our campaigns for long-term profit. And the beauty with Wicked Reports is that you can track into perpetuity. And for those of you who don't know that big word, that means forever, which is longer than 28 days. So when you have somebody that comes in for a Botox shot, and you're looking at your Facebook campaign or your Google campaign, I think mostly we use Facebook on this, or Meta, is that those campaigns look like losers. They look like they were not doing well. Like they were negative ROAS. So the client unfortunately said, well, those aren't doing well. Like, wait a second.
Cut the budget.
Cut the budget.
Because you're looking in-app numbers only.
Yeah, in-app. Like, does this sound like a familiar song and dance? Which we've
there are people listening being like, I've done that. I've shut off profitable campaigns because I didn't know better. But that's okay.
So, yeah. But let's think about this journey. All right. I schedule a Botox shot. I sign up on Meta. I schedule my Botox shot because this was a highly, I wouldn't say it was even profitable at the front end. It was not profitable at the front end. Okay. But it was a popular offer, like a discounted and or free Botox shot. Like that's a great offer.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Anyone who's listening that's ever done it, they add up. I don't know how much a Botox shot costs, like $300?
Something like that. It's $600? It depends on what your markup is. Anyway,
looking it up right now.
Yeah, actually, if you could Google that, that'd be great. So the point is that, okay, initially those look like total failures. Like we were just bleeding money. But we waited. And we waited.
Florida, it's $515 to $625.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you could do this if you're a spa. You could do this maybe $97, $47, and normally $615, retail price, and then send a link to Google like what you just did. Like there's a lot of different ways to do this. So people aren't going to come to you off Meta and say, "Hey, I want a $15,000 to $20,000 procedure for cosmetic surgery." It's just ain't happening. So you need
not in the volume you want to scale.
Not the volume you want to scale. So anyway, so they freaked out. Wrongfully so, by the way. Shame on them.
Understandably so.
Understandably.
That's what they've been taught to know and understand.
However,
purpose.
What we found is that when we started looking back after the 28 days and we started to accumulate, I'm circling right here. This is 2.304177 in revenue driven by Meta campaigns not tracked by the platform.
We're looking at, for those not watching, it's double-digit ROAS across all these campaigns. I know we're not like super into in-app ROAS, but this is ROAS attributed within Wicked Reports that's showcasing unattributed $2 million of revenue. Mamma mia.
With a 12x ROAS. Now, I know our media buyers fought them on this because they're like, just wait. And they're like, we're racking up losses here. But then all of a sudden it came in. And it's like, all right, so two things here. You need the cash to be able to, or the war chest to be able to front something like this. You don't have to do it to the degree that we did it. And I'm looking here, like there's a bunch of brand lift stuff. We did do a conversion lift study on this that made us realize that this was the first step. We actually did a conversion lift study through Meta, through our partner manager that showed we are getting conversion lift. We are actually having tangible results. We're getting incremental conversions for our campaign. So we're like, all right, that's a leading indicator. Let's then change up the offer and then figure out a way in which to spend. I believe we spent, it depends on which individual campaign here, but you can see some of these campaigns. I think we spent about 600,000, anywhere between 500,000 and 600,000 on ad spend. But they looked terrible the first 2 months until the third month kicked in, because let's take you through the customer journey. They see an ad. They fill out the form. It's a long form, by the way. Okay. Lots of different ways to optimize this. Then they schedule, might be 2 to 3 weeks out. All right. So you're already 2-3 weeks in. You've got 1 week more maybe to capture this on Meta. And then they go to their appointment. All right. And then they actually have the injection, and then they schedule their next appointment if they're upsold through the internal sales, marketing, handing off to sales process, right? It might be another 2, 3, 4 weeks. It might be another month. It might be another 2 months. It depends on the individual area. It depends on the capacity. And like I said, this was a really great offer that, you could do it discounted, you could do it free, you could do it a lot of other ways. But the point is it's a sort of that middle ground offer. We had already laid the groundwork with a lot of our brand awareness campaigns. So there was some trust factor that had to be overcome. And the brand awareness campaigns added to that, which is a huge part to this. So they all kind of work together. But the point is at the end of the story here is that, look at these. These are not in-app ROAS numbers. These are actual order data that was imported into Wicked Reports with actual numbers. And we found that greater than $2 million in revenue we found after we started the campaign. And I think they were kicking themselves for not keeping it going.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's if you're spending around 600, sub 1 million, and you're doing plus 2 million in sales, those are really good numbers, especially at scale, because there's a lot of appointments. Again, if you're going on that journey, 2-3 weeks before you have your first appointment, and then you might be 2 to 3 months before you have the actual procedure done.
Correct.
So there's probably like anticipated forecasted revenue that's not attributed in there because it's not connected directly into the system. I just have a transparency question though, Ralph.
Yeah.
The brand conversion list study, Meta asks us to do it all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, please. And they've given us money for accounts. Did they give you ad spend, or did the brand itself?
They gave us some of the spend.
Okay.
I forget what percentage, but they ask all the time.
I just say that for people listening, it's like, why would you do a brand lift study? Like, if you hear about it, from my experience, most of the time, it's because it's an initiative pushed by Meta where they're going to contribute additional dollars to show that there is a solid reason why this is a beneficial campaign type. But I was just like, wait, did you do this without the free money? And like that's why I was curious, because I bet half the listeners have not yet done or even heard about brand lift conversion studies.
Yeah. It gave us, so we did get some funding from them. It did, like, we had to convince the client that this was the right thing to do. So getting some credits, as they call, it's not actual dollars, it's credits from Meta based upon our relationship was certainly helpful. No doubt. but we had to convince the brand that this was the right thing to do. So
Yeah.
the brand lift did say, all right, we are getting a brand lift here, but it's not translating necessarily into conversions. And if you're watching this over on YouTube, you can actually see, I'm not going to go through all the data here, but you can dissect it and, question.
Yeah.
The point is that gave us the confidence to say, all right, we're doing this branding right now, and it is taking an effect. So we did actually 2 different studies, as you can see here. The first one that I showed, and then this second one. And this 732,000 lift, your ads in this test resulted in 732,000 incremental account center accounts aware of your brand. So it wasn't just being thrown out into the ether with nothing. And I think we did a third one. We actually did 3 brand lift studies. So it took a while for them to get the point where, and they weren't all $600,000 in ad spend, by the way. There was smaller amounts on each brand lift study, but this gave us a reason to go to them and say, all right, this is what's happening. Meta is doing more than you actually think it's doing. And as a result of that, let's continue with the brand awareness, but let's put in a consideration campaign, sort of a middle campaign somewhere in there. This could be an opt-in for you. This could be a lead magnet. This could be some kind of way to then take those brand aware groups and then market to them with some sort of middle offer, get them even more aware, take the next step in the customer journey. We just so happened to use this Botox offer, which we thought was a really, really good one because it did relate back to, a logical next step. And when you're thinking of sort of top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, you have to sort of think like, what's the logical step before the thing that you really want to sell them? And this is a classic like splintering that I learned from Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher 10, 12 years ago. It's like, take your main product, let's say you have 12 modules of a digital product. Take out your best part, the most popular part. Everyone says, that's killer. It's absolutely crushing. It's like, I get great results from that. Pull that out and then offer that to your market, maybe as a lead magnet, maybe as a low priced offer. And then your upsell path is that much more transparent, but also much more logical. It's like, hey, you like this thing? We'll get the whole set. We've got 12 of these things here. You got that one, but you also need this one, this one, this one, and this one. It's the same thing here. It's like, hey, you got a Botox shot? Hey, you're obviously interested in improving your appearance. Duh. Well, next step is, have you ever considered doing body sculpting? So there's an internal sales process here that goes along with it and feeds the marketing. The point is I think any business can do this. We just so happen to be able to do it in a really hard, hyper competitive niche. Like
I mean, that beauty and wellness space, you're not even just competing against that. You're competing against plastic surgery. You have cosmetics, you have weight loss gyms. And then of course you have the stigma of those that are like, you're perfect as you are, which, whether side of the aisle, all sides of the aisle that you fit on, it is extremely competitive. And to top it off with, Meta has so many restrictions and it's getting harder and harder to get any type of language out there.
God, yeah.
You can't do any before and afters. You can't talk about transformative results very well. And imagine a lot of the images that would best highlight what you can get worked on will come across as near nudity.
Yeah, we had to be really careful with that, and we got help. This is actually one of the accounts that we worked on for the past year with Loft 325 before we merged together, because they knew how to navigate this space. The creative, like the brand awareness creative, shout out to Lauren and her team, the other Lauren.
I was like, not this Lauren.
You're Lauren E. Petrullo, that's Lauren Schwartz. But anyway, Lauren and their team, for them to be able to assemble creative that was meta friendly, got the message out there. There was a fair amount of before and afters in a lot of those, but they were in video format and they were done so that they were meta compliant. We did have issues with meta compliance for sure,
of course,
which you got to navigate through. And our media buying team did a great job there. So this was sort of like creative and media buying coming together. This is a massive case study. I'm not saying like, if you're listening to this show, like, oh my God, well, Burns is spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, no, you can do this on a small scale. If you're a local business too, you just have to think in reverse. Think like, what's your end goal? What's the thing you can put before them? And then how do you differentiate in the market so that, yes, you have your PPC ads working. We still were doing Brazilian butt lift keywords and,
Yep.
body sculpting near me and all that hyper competitive. But how do you differentiate? How do you create a brand? This is what you do. This is what big brands do.
Yep. You can't be a commodity, because if you come into a commodity, which I think a lot of people do, when they're like, I'm only going to focus on Google Ads, I want to go direct to inbound, I'm not going to be interruptive in any way, shape, or form. You are just a commodity.
Yeah.
And without that full funnel support, which you've done, the brand conversion, those brand awareness type of campaigns really contribute to that in a cost-effective way in Meta, where you're paying lower CPMs than you are on bidding for those specific inbound keyboards. You're interrupting their experience, introducing a new brand. And then if you layer in the consideration stage, you're providing them either something for free that they can consume and be like, wow, if this is what you're giving me for free, how much more amazing is it for what I'm having to pay for?
Yeah.
You're getting to introduce yourself, your brand. It is a longer cycle, but the end of the day is, if you want to build a business that's sustainable, that you can scale and then later sell it and exit out of it, you have to understand that the consumer buying journey is longer. Consumers want to consume everything and know all the different options available to them, and you have to fight for that attention.
Yeah. Well said. Well stated. Well said.
I was like, were you saying stated or said? Well said. I was like,
well
all right.
said. Well, I think that's going to be our new catchphrase. Well said, Lauren.
Oh, thank you, Ralph.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's how you grow a business, at least today. But it's like, it is a stepwise journey. You don't have to do it all at once. You do it one step at a time and sort of take it as it comes. But anyway, so this one is a good one. So we're going to continue our case study theme here over the course of the next couple of weeks here, especially as you are in the bloody red ocean of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that thing.
It's like a curse word. I've been telling people, generally speaking, right now, if you are an e-commerce brand or you're a high ticket product, especially the higher your product, you're probably getting a lot more added carts lately than actual conversions. You're probably getting a lot of people that are anticipating that you are going to give them a significant discount in the next few weeks. You are really nice. I love you, Ralph. Always. See? Okay. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I just did the Gen Z heart. My niece called me her favorite millennial yesterday, as if it's the worst insult in the world. This way? Can you do it?
Yeah.
Or you can do this way, it's normal. Or this way. Or this.
I'm doing it this way.
This way.
How about that?
Or
That's
this
pretty
way.
good.
I mean,
I need longer
you look
fingers.
like the guy from Scary Movie where you're like, my terms.
I feel like all like arthritic.
Jim Carrey claw. That's what it is.
That's
Jim
it.
Carrey the claw.
The claw. So you were saying about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. A lot of add to carts right now.
A lot of add to carts. People are waiting. So if you are not capitalizing on having a priority notification list, they already know you're going to have a Black Friday sale. If you're like a certain watch brand that I've been following and you have not hidden your last year's Black Friday sale, hide that immediately, because then you automatically turn off everyone from knowing what you're going to give away. But if you have a product, whether it's high ticket e-commerce, doesn't matter. If you have a Black Friday sale that's coming, start collecting people that are interested in it, because if you give it to them early, they can portion out their budget to capitalize on your Black Friday offer. You're going to see a lot of people right now waiting. So it's like high impressions, expensive in the US for the election, plus lower intent on making the actualized purchase, because people are happy to wait 3 weeks for 30% off or an additional free gift with purchase. So it's just like it's like this weird, low, expensive.
You know what?
Please, let's just get past this.
You know what a lot of shoppers are going to be super frustrated by with Shopify, and you probably know this, is that they clear out their add to cart cache at like 10 to 14 days. So a lot of people that are adding right now may or may not come back and see their cart still full. So it's like a normal
but they'll get
cache.
the retargeted emails.
They should.
They'll get the add to cart email. Well, they should.
Should.
There's 3 different notifications, like add to cart, initiate checkout, and abandon cart. There's 3 of them. I'd have to go and look what we have in Shopify. But yeah. If you don't have those, turn those on right away.
Yeah.
If you've got Black Friday pages from last year, check if they're still active and change it, so you're not telling everyone you're going to get a free bag when you purchase this fitness watch. Don't be an irresponsible brand.
Yeah.
Use this time of the lull where you know their conversions are lower to get ahead and ask people for what it is. But yeah, this is an expensive time of the year. What Ralph has presented is building a full funnel. You don't need to spend millions to take advantage. You can introduce it at a different marginal space. But if you're assuming that you can turn an ad platform into an ATM, hello, wake up, it's 2024.
Yeah, doesn't work that way. Well, you've got to get to Miami. You've got to catch a train. The bullet train from Orlando to Miami.
Bright line.
The
Bright line. I'm going to
line?
West Palm tonight. There's a fancy country club banquet. And then I'm doing a retreat. Actually, it's Win Where It Matters. I'm kind of really excited. It's a 2-day retreat at Anne and Malhum and Brighton's house.
Sick.
Where it's cold plunging, hot sauning, beach volleyball. I mean, I'm working, I promise.
Mm-hmm. This is how you work. This is your marketing strategy for 2024 and 2025. Let's go to things
Just
like this.
attend retreats
But
that
also,
make it look like I'm working.
Well, you're also the only marketing person there, or one of the very few marketing people there, right?
Ideally.
We'll see.
There are 45 of us. But also it's really good on like centering what your focuses are on, what are your big rocks.
Yeah.
Again, I'm about to go into my busiest month. November, I have no friends. No friends in November. Like my friends know it. I'm like, no friend November. You no shave November? I no friend November. You have to go away.
It's Movember. By the way, my kids were trying to convince me last night to not do the mustache this year because they said it was so bad last year in Movember because they're all growing theirs. Mm-hmm. I texted you the picture from dinner. Yeah. They're like, Dad, just don't do it this year. It was terrible last year. I'm like, really?
I disagree. Handlebars.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this week's show. Lauren has got to get on a train, so we got to get going here. Thank you so much for all your comments and ratings and wherever you listen to podcasts. Leaving us a review and a rating is greatly appreciated, as well as shouting us out on your socials of any of the stuff that we talked about here in today's episode or past episodes that you found that's worked. Let us know about it. It's what keeps us doing this. Of course, all resources that we mentioned here, I'll try to do some screenshots of some of this stuff here because this is like an internal training that we use. It wasn't even like a formal presentation. So I was like, hey, let me show this thing. We'll leave that over on perpetualtraffic.com over in the show notes section. Of course, check out our video of this at perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. So on behalf of my awesome co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo,
ciao.
Until next show, see ya.